about it. And it's important because we want to keep covering this story in depth. Once a body is cremated, the identifiable characteristics of that person are simply gone forever. That's why it's so important, in light of what happened up in Amador County, to have some reasonable legal means of verification. Well, here's the story of one Peninsula funeral director making big strides in the right direction. Despite all of Jack Elkin's claims that he scattered tens of thousands of remains as directed, his paperwork is so lacking in independent verification, it's hard to believe. And the paperwork he supplied to the relatives of the deceased, no better. We came to Menlo Park here on the peninsula to the Menlo Colonial Chapel, where funeral director John O'Connor scatters his customers' ashes himself from his own airplane. And just to provide an additional record, he's now taken to using a videotape camera to make sure that that record is permanent.
I used to take a photo of the drop zone, and that really didn't prove anything either. So when I was watching this happen on TV the other day, I went out and bought a video recorder and a video camera, and I actually took that in the airplane. What I do is I take the cremains out of the cardboard box, and then I wrap them in wrapping paper like this, and it forms a cylinder. And then all airplanes have what's called a storm window. In this practice tape shot by John O'Connor just last week, he shows the process. But in a real scattering, a much closer picture of the person's name would be recorded. And the name is on here, and I just scatter out the window. And it blows behind me. This unravels, and it scatters. It takes 10 seconds. Over Mount Shasta, I'd be around 14 to 18,000 feet. If they want over the ocean, then I go high enough to be safe, which is around 6,000. How far that would disperse, you might call it the cone as dispersion, like military. You just have one grain of sand every 50 feet. O'Connor belongs to the Flying Funeral Directors, an elite group of 400 morticians who also pilot their own planes. It really helps the funeral director control the entire process when a death occurs. Normally, if somebody died in San Diego, you call a firm in San Diego, and they handle the removal and the preparation, and they ship back on United. When one of my family members dies out of town, I just fly straight to San Diego myself, and I control the preparation here myself. I feel they're paying me to do a service, and if I can control more of it, I do. And O'Connor makes an excellent point when he says if one expects to do everything for the least possible cost, then one can reasonably expect shortcuts to be taken. So in future reports, we are going to explore the legalities and the cost of having an independent witness verifying the ashes all the way.
Nice to see the right way to do it. Thank you.
Cremation is supposed to be a sacred rite to offer solace at a time of grief.
The ash was put in a large metal trash cans and brought down and just divvied out.
A cadaver's jaw was broken with a crowbar to get the gold out.
Good evening. I'm Ted Koppel, and Eners, while in other states they represent no violation of the law at all. Here's Nightline correspondent James Walker.
It is a sacred moment. The ashes of a human being are about to be scattered. It is a time of absolute trust. A funeral director is fulfilling the wishes of the deceased by scattering her ashes near the Golden Gate Bridge. This final act is meant to bring surviving relatives and close friends a sense of peace. At least that is what is supposed to happen.
Pleasant visions haunt me as I gaze upon the sea. All the old romantic legend, all my dream on that. Sails of silk and ropes of salmon, such as gleam in ancient lore.